Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's show. Stacey Wondra puts himself in the same area where Michael Monkey Vaughan disappeared. New timeline that he's out there talking about. Super excited. I'm Samantha and my partner Kaylee is joining me tonight.
Hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I found another video. Stacey Wandra's talking again and had to go watch it. And man, oh man, was it a good one. And it was a good one because one of these creators really dug into Stacey. And I
Yep.
mean, it's the way I would have done it. I would have
Mm-hmm.
totally, like, that's what I expected when everybody started putting him on their panels and stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm just super excited to show everyone.
Yep, me too. And it's interesting. I always say it's interesting. But what is his motivation to go from person to person to person, days apart, and just contradict himself so often? I just wonder. And as we listen to these clips and we listen to these contradictions, and you listen to where he puts himself the minutes that Michael went missing, it really does make you wonder, why is he out here doing this? So
Yeah,
yeah, this creator, yeah, they did a really great job again. We did a great show. I don't know how long ago, just actually feels like a couple nights ago, going over a ton of contradictions. Samantha put a ton of contradictions together from these other creators, and now, yeah, this new interview that came out recently, this one really hit Stacey hard after these other creators kind of laid the groundwork, and man, it's just damning. There's no other
right?
word to describe it, really.
Yeah, let's give some credit out to some of these YouTube creators that's had Stacey Wander on their show. We have Dolly Vision, we have Crime Lines and Lies, True Crime with Eve, Justin for All, Josh with the Lab. And Josh with the Lab and Justin for All really dug deep into Stacey. It's an amazing clip. I am excited. We've got two clips from them actually. Excited. Let's say hello to all of the members that are here or all of the viewers that are here. We really appreciate you being here. Preschool Granny is saying hello to everybody. Hello.
Hi there, welcome.
Hope everybody is having a good night. Again, we are famous for spur of the moment lives. So hit the notification button, and it really helps us if you hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow our channel. We're trying to really bring awareness to these children. So it helps us be seen on YouTube when we have more subscribers. Um,
We
and we are
appreciate you all for
famous.
being here.
Yes. And we really are famous for going spur of the moment. Today, after watching what I watched, I'm like, Kaylee, are you available? I got to do this right now.
We like to operate under pressure.
Really, under pressure. This first clip I'm going to go over has several different subjects. We're going to be pausing and stuff because Stacey has been online. He's been talking about these new timestamp pictures that he has, and we're just here to tell you that they don't mean shit.
Yeah.
Literally, they don't mean shit. These time stamps, I mean, oh my gosh, are ridiculous. He's changing time and the position where he's on 8th Street in Arizona now. He's even, changing the story about taxi rides. Was there one? Was there two? So we're going to talk. I'm going to pause and we're just going to get going with this.
one
I
one
think
one
so. There might have been another taxi ride, but I know that it was because the timestamps that I sent you, I'm sure you'll post them up.
Yep.
Um, there's time differences, so when I quote times on here, you guys have to forgive me because I'm not verbatim. Like I told you, I'm doing the best hypothetical guess with time. So please forgive me if they're not accurate.
Okay. But a general.
Yes.
Is-
General, I think there was only one taxi call that day for me.
Okay.
For when I got back, there might have been another one. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay.
He can't remember. Now there might be 2 taxi rides that day.
Yeah,
I mean,
and just in another live a couple days ago, he was saying how sure of his times and how accurate his times are. So again, it just is baffling. He's like, well, now I'm just doing my best, guys. Just don't blame me. I'm doing my best.
yeah, because everybody's been calling him on his shit. Where everybody is recapping
Like,
on
make it make
YouTube.
sense.
Yeah. Everybody is recapping on YouTube all of these, lives that he's been doing. He's getting busted in all of his timelines. And now he's just like, if my times change, you guys just have to forgive me, blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous. Let's
Absolutely.
I know for sure there was one that was Ontario to Boise because Brendan had been pestering us a lot about getting his car. Like it wasn't just one time he asked; it had been probably a couple weeks worth of asking.
He'd been harping on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What time was this approximately?
Timestamps, again, I'm referring back to the timestamps because I literally just found them yesterday. I got back into my email account and my pictures from that year last night, literally. Thanks to Eve, who is also viewing, I believe. She helped me recover that. So I was able to get into that, and that's how I got those photos that you'll pull up eventually, with the timestamp attached.
Okay.
So I'd say, it's going to sound stupid, but going back to the timestamps, I would say 6:30 or 7 is when we left.
That is huge.
Yes. That
He is
right.
saying, he is saying now that he left to go to Kuna to go get Brandon's car from his mom's house between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. And don't forget, when he leaves, he has to pull over to the side of the road to put in power steering fluid, and he says he stops. Well, he's changing his story about that again tonight. We'll go over that. But he says he pulls over to the side of the road on 8th in Arizona and sees a little boy. And he's literally putting himself in the same area where Michael Vaughan disappeared
At the
or
same
was
moment,
abducted.
yeah, in the same window of time, 6:30 to 7 is when Michael was initially reported as believed to be abducted by in that time frame, but now they say it's 6:40 to 7, and he was right there in that window of time.
Exactly. My mouth dropped because the time that he has given leaving was 5, 5:15, 5:30, nothing after 6 o'clock. Nothing. It was all the end of the 5 o'clock hour, but none of it was after 6 o'clock. And he says 6:30 to 7 o'clock. And I believe he's saying it's time stamped, but it's like, how is it time stamped? Is this time stamped by law enforcement?
I think he means is he talking about a picture? Because I don't know. I it's super incriminating that he would say this about himself.
Let's
I
just
don't
rewind
know.
just a tad bit and see what he says again. Let's see.
Able to get into that, and that's how I got those photos that you'll pull up eventually, with the timestamp attached.
Okay.
So I'd say, it's going to sound stupid, but going back to the timestamps, I would say 6:30 or 7 is when we left.
I remember now. It's because they're getting these timestamps that True Crime with Eve helped him do from his email and like his GPS and I want to say like his GPS or because it
Yeah.
can follow you or whatever. But
Yeah,
I guess that's how he's saying.
right. I think, is that what the thing that I showed you on the video I sent you?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we were doing time stamping on a picture, but they were also doing timestamps on like his whereabouts on like a map and stuff.
I see.
Okay. Let's move forward on this one.
Yep.
When you left.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you leave at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. And you guys are making a trip from Fruitland
Correct.
to
Cuna.
Now we're just going to get into how easy it is to change your timestamps in your email or from your phone. Now this is the picture that he's using. It's not going to be clear because I had to zoom in on it, but up at the top you can see July 27th, 2021, 9:54 p.m. But right next to that on the far right hand side at the top, you can see the edit button. He could edit this time, he could edit this month, he could edit the day, everything he can edit. And to prove that, Kaylia got into her phone and changed
Yep.
a timestamp.
Yep. I went to our local Winco here in my city and took a picture and then went and edited it. And when I did that, not only did it like save it, it didn't indicate on it that it had been edited. It also threw the picture in that picture I had taken right then and there. It had moved it in my camera roll back to the date that I had set it for. So it wasn't even in my like the front of my most recent picture I had taken anymore. So it was like, oh, you want this to be dated back then? No problem. And put it right back
Wow.
then, no problem for me. No, and didn't indicate that it had been edited at all. So
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. Crime Sleuthin is here. Hi, girl. I really enjoyed your show. I watched the majority of it. Thank you so much for pointing out the timestamp information. I had to go check it out for myself. And that timestamp can be changed.
yep. And who would have thunk it? I guess it was right there in the photo, but I looked right past it when I first saw that.
And then we have Preschool Granny. He wants people to give him money. I say arrest him. Me too. I say arrest him. Death by Chocolate. Our girl is here. How are you? We love you so much. Thanks everybody for showing up. This is awesome.
Yes, awesome to have everybody here tonight. Again, on a spur of a moment live.
Everybody's just saying hi to everybody. Thank you guys for always being like the best audience here ever.
It is quite nice. Makes it easy on us.
Now let's show Kaylia messing around with her phone here. I hope everybody's going to be able to see it. This is the picture that she took.
Right at my local Winco.
I mean, look, she's just scrolling, you guys. Those dates, there's the time. You can just scroll the time. You can scroll the dates. I mean, it's even got a row for the month. So I am just calling bullshit on the whole Stacey out there giving this timestamp information about some picture that he supposedly took off the side of the road coming back from Kuna to give a timestamp.
Yeah.
To give a timestamp of when they were like coming back from Kuna, which to me really doesn't. I mean, what does that even say? Michael's already disappeared and gone. So what does it matter what time they come home? I mean, I know we're trying to figure out their timeline, but Michael's already been gone close to 3 hours by now.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Crime Sleuthin says, just got breaking news on Stacey. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Crime Sleuthin. Thank you for bringing it to us. What is going on?
Yep, it was that easy. And guess what? Just got breaking news on Stacey.
Give
Give
me a
me a
link.
link. You need to send that link right over to her.
Okay. Let me. 1 moment.
Give us just a minute, babe, and we will do that. Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
Do I just post it in the comments? Is that how you do it?
Can you reach where can you send your information? How do you know what? We've never done this before. Crime Sleuthin', we're kind of new to all of this live stuff. So how can she reach you on Facebook through Messenger? Can you put your name up here in the comment section for Kaylia to send you a link in Messenger, please? We don't want to post the link in the comments because we don't want any trolls coming in or trying to come in. Well, I guess I have to allow them to come in, right?
I guess you're right, huh?
Yeah, put it in the comments. I'm not going to
Okay.
allow anybody else anyway.
Okay, just a moment. I'll bring it on over. Just
While we're waiting on this amazing news, I'm going to go ahead and go forward and finish out this video.
You go to the house, and what happens?
Brandon brought a duffel bag full of his clothes. I can verify that it was literally full of clothes because it was empty when he brought it on the couch from the side of the couch. And I watched him put all of his dirty clothes inside the duffel bag.
See, this information is news too. Now he's actually saying he sees Brandon put clothes into this duffel bag. The same duffel bag he later or has mentioned in the past that it wasn't big enough for a body. I mean, why is he backtracking on that information?
Yeah.
Yeah, saw him put clothes in the duffel bag. He's never said that before.
How big is the duffel bag?
It's small. It's a medium to small duffel bag. It's not big at all. It's not like a huge one. It's got the handles that Velcro together, and it's got a strap that goes over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And he takes this duffel bag with him on the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you do at the house once you arrive there? You hook up the car, and what else? What else is going on at the house?
That's it. Brandon had to go through the side gate entrance on the right side of his house because his mom has.
Now here he's saying that Brandon had to go in through the side gate on the side of the house. And on Crime Lines and Lies, he actually said that they used a code on the outside of the garage to go in through the garage area. So I kind of find it odd that this story changed too. I mean, it's just he cannot. And let's remind everybody, he's going on all these panels and he's talking fairly frequent. I mean, he's doing them day after day after day, some for like 4 or 5 days. He does a little bit of a pause. So I just don't understand how he can't remember what he's saying from day to day.
I
Because this
don't
just
understand
started.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, because it
That's a
just
mystery
started a
to me.
couple weeks.
That is a mystery to me.
Yeah, it does not make sense.
Somebody
you're that
in
forgetful.
another live that I was watching about this, they had said something like, do you think he's going on all these panels to try to get the story out there to the other people? So they're like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, that's an interesting theory. Oh, Crime Sleuthin', I posted it in the comments for you. Can you see it there? I can email it. Let me see if I can find your email real quick. Let me try that too. Smart.
Surveillance, like a Ring doorbell that has audio video set up.
Mm-hmm.
That'll pick up detection of movement or whatever. So we parked just enough in front of his car so I could push his car out of the driveway and get the tow strap out of the truck to go mount to go connect to his car. And while in the process of me doing that, he was in the house washing his clothes.
And how long are y'all at this house?
30 minutes tops.
Well, you can't wash and dry your clothes for 30 minutes.
He didn't dry his clothes. He washed them and left them in the washer, and then they went back the next day.
Y'all drove straight over to
Yeah, and now he is saying, I mean, he told Dolly Vision that was only took about 15 minutes. Now he's saying it took about 30 minutes. And you know, he's saying that he went back for his clothes the next day, which he had never mentioned before talking about the clothes. But Brandon, I guess, goes in the house, washes clothes, and changes his clothes. That was in another clip that we put on our last live, that he goes in the house, washes a load of clothes, and then changes his clothes while he's in there.
Brandon, and that was his mother's house, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, did Brandon have anything with him?
He had his duffel bag full of clothes, but it was small. It wasn't even a huge duffel bag. It was tiny.
Like, what do you consider tiny? Like a book bag size, or big enough to fit?
Take like a small duffel bag, you know, had the little straps on it, but not near big enough to put a human in it at all.
Okay, so you're saying there's no way that he could have stuffed a small child in that bag. He just had dirty clothes in the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the clip where he actually says they're talking about a duffel bag and he just throws that out there. It's not big enough to put a human in it. I don't even understand that statement. That is weird to me. It's strange. Like, why would he even say something like that?
I think that's a strange comment to make too. I just wanted to just take a minute to say, Crime Sleuthin, I did email it over to you at the email that's on your YouTube videos, just FYI. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why that's, I mean, I guess when he asked how big is the duffel bag, maybe that's a leading question for Stacey to think, oh, he's wondering if a body could fit in it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's just another strange thing that he says. We're almost through this clip.
And how long do you think y'all sat out there waiting on him to do the clothes? You know, just a guess.
I think he just threw him in the washer at that time. I don't think he even put him in the dryer, but I think it probably took him maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Notice that huge timeline change? I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And he just got done saying 30 minutes on Justin for Justice show. I mean, and these shows are done within days of each other. And I think that the timeline for being at his mom's house, since dogs hit on a scent at his mom's house too, is just really important to have a good timeline for there at her house.
Yeah, it's important, I feel, as well. I feel like the police think so too. I mean, they can't get it. Is just a suspicious story. They went there to get the vehicle with that needed spark plugs, and they towed it with a tow strap, and Stacey's the one who's pushing it around in the driveway to get it ready to be towed while Brandon is doing the laundry, and it just, and then the story changing a little bit and him putting himself right where Michael is, just, it's too many things pointing directly at them all.
He said Sarah didn't go into the house, and he also said Sarah went into the house. And then now there's inconsistencies about how he got into the house. And you're right, like
Crime Sleuthin says she's backstage.
I see her. I do see you. I was just going to talk about you. Let me finish up this clip and then I'll add you on. Death by Chocolate is saying that there is just so many inconsistencies. And there really is. There are so many inconsistencies. I'm super excited to hear what she has to say. It clip's almost done, you guys.
Okay.
About the time it took me to hook the car up and stuff.
So he goes inside to wash clothes. Now, did he wash the clothes that he was wearing?
No, he just didn't change the clothes, but I
So
just
he
know he
goes.
literally. All I know, to my knowledge, he just washed the clothes that was washed. It was duffel bag.
But he did change the clothes he was wearing. You said.
Yes.
Okay, so he goes in, changes clothes, washes the clothes that's in his duffel bag. Do you or Sarah ever go in the house with him?
No.
See right there, he said no, Sarah didn't go in, but he also said in another one that Sarah did go inside the house. I want to welcome I want to welcome Crime Sleuthin. We just recently met each other on YouTube, actually. She's been covering Stacey Wondra's case a little bit over on her channel. Everybody be nice. She's got some big news and we want to hear it.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know the other girl's name though, because I can't see it.
My name is Kaylia. Nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you too.
And
Yes,
I'll be dropping her link here in the chat too, just so you know, in just a moment.
Oh, you don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Okay,
Absolutely.
so there's another live going on right now. So I'm not the breaker of the news, but I'm the bringer of the news. So apparently, he has been coached by a channel, and I don't know if you want me to say the name, but a certain other channel coached him on what to say. I'm going to read the actual message here.
Wow.
It says, did Stacey lie to me when he said, channel name, told him to lie about the tip?
Wow.
Somebody told him to come back and lie about the tip.
Wow. Where's he on a live at right now?
It's okay to say it. Well, no, he's not on a live. The person that he spoke to today is on the live.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, throw out the name. Let's hear it. Because I'm gonna go watch it.
It's Purple Phoenix, and Crime Lines and Lies is the one who let that out. She's been talking with him. As you know, she interviewed him 3 days straight.
Right.
And so she just got back up on panel before I came over here, but she dropped down for a little bit. So if you wanted to see it, it's right between there. Nice. She was on there for a little bit, and then she got down. It was while she was down that she put that in chat. And then she came back up to talk about it. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
True Crime Lady has been talking with him a lot. I did email with her and explained how the dates and times can be changed as well. And she just kind of brushed it off like it didn't. She said, but it's got the GPS location on here. And I said, you can change that as well. She said, you can't change that in photos. I said, yeah, no, technically you can't. But if you click on the little thing, if you have your GPS location on, then it'll also geotag your photos, right? I turned that off on mine because I don't like it. I don't want my photos geotagged like that. So, because when you put them up on social media, somebody who knows what they're doing can look into that metadata and find out your location. So I turned that off. Well, apparently he had his on, but if you clicked on, if you pull up that screenshot where it says, well, on mine anyway, I can email them to you, or from my live where it said edit or open in maps. All you got to do to change the GPS of that photo is click on open in maps, change the location, change the date and time, everything that you want to do. You can do it there too. And if you change the date and time in the timeline, it'll also automatically change it in the photo. So then you just go back to the photo and bam, it looks like you were in Walla Walla on some other date.
It's bizarre. That's so crazy. And yeah, I actually went back and showed Samantha another video that we didn't include, but that I went in and changed the photo. And I took a photo of my Oregon City Winco right here where I live. And I went and I changed the location to be in Cabo San Lucas. And
exactly.
it did.
And that's what I think Stacey did with that photo at the ANW.
Yeah.
He did something with that photo because you even said that that photograph doesn't even look like the building at that A&W at all.
Exactly. Yeah, the A&W that he claims he's at has red brick all around the outside. The one that he was at has yellow brick. The only one anywhere around there that has yellow brick is in Payette.
Wow.
Wow.
Not on
And that's
Harley.
closer.
Yeah. There was no reason for him to go back up to Ontario. So why is he trying to hide the fact that he either went to Ontario or trying to add time where he was, you know?
Exactly.
Really weird. The time of day is so strange.
Well, his whole entire timeline for the day is strange. I mean, times change throughout the entire day. The only time that he is consistent with is the 11 o'clock phone call that he gets that there is a taxi ride.
Yep, and I think he's
And that's it.
completely being truthful on that. After what happens after 11 a.m., we'll never know, unless he absolutely confesses.
And what station is he live on right now? He's on Purple Phoenix right now?
No, he's not. Brooks is the one that did those 3 interviews with him.
Oh,
She's still
because somebody
been talking to him, and Brooks came over to tell everybody what she has been. He said he told her he ate 3 footlongs today for lunch. I mean, he's just gross, and that he's mad because he hasn't made much money off these lives.
Oh, he's getting paid to do these lives?
Uh-huh.
You know, I heard something about that somewhere, but I wasn't able to confirm it, so I haven't really talked about it at all.
Well, we only know that one for sure paid him, but the others said that they did not. And then one
Preschool Granny is saying that Stacey is arguing with Brooks right now. So she must have got him on the phone.
She's recorded his phone calls.
Oh,
where
wow.
he actually says on there that this other channel told him to lie about the tip.
So let me get this right.
Why would the channel be assisting a suspect?
Exactly. But I want to make this completely clear. There's another channel that is saying that Stacey said he was told to say he gave a false tip.
Or the vice versa.
Yeah, well, I encourage everybody to listen to that live, only because it looks like there's some good information in there. Because I know the truth is in there somewhere. You know, a liar can make 50 lies in one conversation, but 1 or 2 or 3 might be true. We just have to figure out what in that is true.
So are you saying that Stacey said someone told him to lie?
Yes, Stacey says on that recorded phone call that other channel told him to lie.
Oh, wow.
And
who is he throwing under the bus that he said told him to lie?
It's a channel called, and I don't know her either, True Crime with Eve.
Oh, yeah, I watched her show.
He did an interview with her as well. She's the one that apparently I don't know much about her, but she thinks the parents were involved or something.
I have seen where she has tried to say things like that, yes. And we don't believe that they are guilty in any way, shape, or form. We don't like the attacks on those parents. I mean, they've worked with law enforcement from the very beginning. Law enforcement worked with them, you know, plus with all of the evidence and stuff that they have been able to find with the cadaver dogs and being in the Wonders' backyard, it doesn't make sense to even try to say that they are guilty of anything.
Exactly.
Okay, are you telling us all right now that, okay, I might be confused, I'm just trying to get it straight. I'm so sorry. Did you just hear them say on a recording, Stacey said that True Crime with Eve told him to lie about the tip on her channel, so it's not true, like he never gave him the tip, or that like she told him to lie for like views, or
something about for sympathy and views, you know, because he's trying to get money together. It's kind of weird.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh
to
my
See,
goodness.
because
help
that's the
clear his
live that
name. And that also leads to the fact that also Eva's the one, remember, who helped him gain access to his email.
Mhm.
Yes.
I was also going to
Yes.
say
He's the
she's the
one.
one who had him on her live show when he gave the tip, when he came out and told everyone that he gave the false tip. He was on her
That's it.
show.
Right. That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about. That's what's on the recorded phone call that
Okay.
Brooks is playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
It's
crazy.
flipping
unfortunate. That
that.
is crazy. I just can't even wrap my head around somebody rationalizing that.
Yeah, exactly. I think some people totally lack empathy, honestly, and common sense because so what if Tyler got a couple of details wrong from one interview to the next? So what? So what?
Right.
The whole day, that whole chunk of time had to be a complete blur for everybody. I
Oh
get
my
it.
goodness.
So
Right.
I'm
He
not
was
going to
under
blame
immense
him anyway.
stress.
Yeah, I'm not pointing any fingers that way. That's just rude. I
Yeah,
mean, even
exactly.
you point to any traumatic time in your life and you're not going to remember all the details. You're just not because your mind protects you.
Yeah.
No, that's trauma. That's what trauma
Exactly.
is, you know.
Your
And you know
brain
what?
just doesn't work right for a while, and that's good for us, you know. But a suspect, they better damn well know their timeline, and he has changed it so many times. And now to find out that he changed his story about the tip as well, and he's saying homophobic things to Justin for all now.
Oh, great. That's
He's been
gonna piss
cussing
me
him
off.
out all day. Oh yeah,
Well, that's
calling
because
him.
I mean, I can't wait to show our clips from that show because they really went after him. And if I would have had him on my show, that's how I would have went after him. I mean, they got some stuff. You could tell how nervous he was. There were at some points he started stuttering. He
Yeah,
started describing where he told law enforcement that Michael's body was in the backyard, but then he tried to back. It was almost like he was really telling the truth there for a minute, but then retracted and back to it was a false tip. You know,
right.
it was
That's where the
false. It
false
wasn't
tip
true.
comes from. Yep.
But they really got him on that show. They got him running scared. And we got a couple of clips from their show. I appreciate you so much coming on and talking with
Yeah,
us
no
and telling
problem.
us some new news. That's just,
No problem. I
yeah,
just saw I had they're live in a tab, and I just I keep an eye on who's going live on YouTube, and I just said to you, and it said you were live, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go tell them.
nice. Well, and we know that Purple Phoenix and Crime Lines and Lies, they are both very close to BRANDI.
Yes.
So, that says a lot. Just that in itself, that this information's coming out on their channel. So I can just say I trust that information at this point.
Yeah, Brooks
So
wouldn't lie, and if she's playing the phone call, then she's got her receipts, and
that's
she
right.
said she's sending it to law enforcement because apparently it just
Well, there
happened.
you go. Yeah, because
So,
he's going to get in trouble for reporting a false tip if it was a false tip anyway.
yeah. And
I mean,
if he went back and edited the dates and times on those photos, because even the one at night, the one that says 9:56 p.m.
mhm,
out on Idaho 16,
right.
he said he got home 25 minutes after they were at that location at 9:56. So that
Yeah,
would have been 10:15, 10:20. However, if you just look at the Google map purely alone and drop where he was, it's a 51-minute drive. So right there tells me that the timestamp is BS.
yeah.
It can't be.
And
It cannot be accurate.
well, everything about all of his times are BS. And yeah, you can change them now. We know that. So we know it's BS. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I wondered. I mean, I had never talked to Eve. I never followed her. I only found her through her pseudo interview. And, because I was going through and taking notes, and I watched that one as well, but I noticed there weren't any actual questions asked. It was just going over her telling him, basically,
Right. I felt that the questions were leading
Yeah,
him a little
yeah.
bit.
It
I
really
did feel
was. And
that a little bit.
that raised alarm bells. I didn't cover her interview on my live because of that, because it wasn't, just wasn't an interview. in my opinion.
Well, I took clips from
But-
it because that's the only interview that he did where he admitted and said that there was a false tip and that he gave it.
I'm glad
And-
you did that because that live may disappear now.
Wow. Well, I've got it saved even on my computer, so they can't make it disappear now.
Good. I hope you got that whole thing because once
I do.
She hears, she was in the chat earlier and it was not pretty at all. She
Oh,
came into
no.
the chat. So,
Well, you know,
she's
I
going to
also
watch
have-
the rest of this and she may think, I better get rid of that live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've also seen her go back and forth with Crime Lines and Lies too. So
Yes, they
not trying to
did.
bash other
Yeah.
creators. I'm just saying that I have seen them go back and forth. So this isn't just a now thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not a basher. I don't believe in that. I've had my fair share of haters on YouTube. It's fine. But I mean, I'm just simply stating facts. Facts are just facts, you know.
And what's your name?
My name is Debbie.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Debbie. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to
Yes.
go back. I have that other live pause so I could go back and pick up where I left off.
Alrighty.
So I will see you guys later. It was good to meet you.
Nice
Alright,
to
it
meet
was
you
good to
so
meet
much.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Then I'm going to put yours on pause now and then come back and finish it after I listen to the phone call. I've always got
Alrighty.
like 5 tabs, stats, 5 tabs going with 4 or 5 different lives and going back and forth between them for 5 hours. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
know
lot
it.
of information out there, so
There's not enough hours in the day.
not enough
To
at
watch
all.
all
I
this.
agree.
Especially when you're addicted to a certain case, you're just I totally get it
Yes.
because I'm all over the place.
Yeah, that's why I pause a lot of them in different tabs and then I go back and I'll watch them on like 1.5 or 2 speed and just listen
Yeah,
and catch
same.
I know
I do
Haley
that
is the
too.
one had taught me how to do that, and I said, "What? You can change the speed?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that." So, I mean, because I was computer dinosaur until we started doing lives and got my new computer. So,
Yes. There's this clip channel that does that where it's brilliant the way she does it. She'll say like, okay, so coming up is a clip. It's 15 minutes long, but it only lasts on my video for 7 minutes because I have it on double speed. So change your speed now to 0.5 if you want, so you can listen to it at regular speed.
oh, there you go.
But it still only took up 7 minutes of her space. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
that's a
smart.
genius.
That's really
Yeah,
smart.
very good
All of the
idea.
clips in like double speed and then tells people when to slow down, and it's just so cool. I'm learning a lot too. I've only had my channel for a couple years, year and a half, something
We
like
got
that.
your channel in the comment section, so everybody go
cool.
check out Crime Sleuthin'.
Thank you. I love how you say it with a the instead of the th.
Yeah,
You're
I'm Southern.
Are you in the southern states as well?
I'm actually in Vancouver, Washington now, but I am from
There
Texas.
you go. Okay, see, I knew that because of the way you say sleuthin'. Everybody up north says sleuthin', and everybody down here it's sleuthin'.
That's
That
right.
is interesting. Wow, I've never realized, but wow, now I'll hear it every time. I love it.
All right, guys, have a good rest of your life.
Thank
too.
you.
Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Nice
Bye-bye.
to meet you. Bye bye.
That was so awesome. I love it.
Very interesting.
And I didn't have a problem having a third person in this time either. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, that's some interesting news right there that Stacey Wondra is now saying that he was coached into saying that the tip. Okay, first he said he gave a tip to law enforcement that Michael Vaughan's body was in the backyard. Then he came out and said that that tip he gave Fruitland Police was false. Now he is saying that he was coached by another YouTube creator to say that the tip that he gave was false for views and for whatever. I don't know all of the details, so I won't go into detail. But apparently on Purple Phoenix, she had a live that's going to explain it. And I know Purple Phoenix works with BRANDI NEAL, which is Michael Vaughan's mom, if you guys want to go check that out. And yeah, wow. So we just went over a lot of things in the duffel bag clip that I showed, and now we're actually going to see some clips from Justin for All and his friend Josh from the lab. His YouTube is the lab. And his name's Josh, and they just go hardcore on Stacey Wondra, and I'm super excited to show these clips. So let's just hop right into that, since we had a little bit of a pause inviting somebody or having somebody on. Just checking comments really. Death by Chocolate says that was a great it was a good show. Nice. I'm excited. I'm probably going to watch it right after we're done.
Me too.
God wouldn't tell a lie. You know what I mean? God is very, you know, he
Well,
died on the cross.
God may not tell a lie, but humans will. Let me ask you this
That's
question
true.
really
That's
fast.
Go ahead.
I guess my question really is,
Drink.
what is it that you're trying to accomplish? I mean, you are a suspect in the case,
Mhm.
whether you know,
Yes.
law enforcement has said that. What is it like? So you're doing, I'm not saying you're doing rounds, but you're going on panels and stuff. Like, how is this going to help you? How is this going to help exonerate you?
It's not going to help exonerate me, but what it's doing is giving people my side of the story, because there's a lot of stories being told, but nobody's going to believe one person over the other. Reality is I'm still a suspect. And when it gets cleared by law enforcement, then people have a different view. But I want to personally tell people my side of the story, because I feel that's what I'm destined to do. Because I feel there's a lot of bullshit talk, there's a lot of crap talk about each and every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just honestly going out there because I know what happened that night. I know that I know the whereabouts where I was. I know the whereabouts where Sarah and Brandon were. I don't see that. That's why I'm doing this, because there's a lot of questions regarding this.
Yeah. But
Do you guys believe that? Do you guys believe that he's just out there to tell a story? Or do you guys think that he's just wanting attention? Because I personally believe that he just wants attention, and he wants everybody to feel bad for him. And he's just trying his hardest to, now that he's out of jail, because we all know Brandon was talking a lot of smack while he was in jail. I think he's just out there either trying to cause more drama. I don't know. What do you think, Kelia?
I really don't know either. I mean, I feel like it could be many things. I definitely think, now that I've heard that YouTubers have paid him for interviews, that money is a motivation.
Huge
Espe-
motivation,
especially,
especially when he was trying to get money.
yeah. And he was, living in a hotel at first, and then in a shelter and stuff, and asking people to put his Cash App up and stuff. I definitely think
Yeah.
that he was hopeful that people would have sympathy for him and think that he was being honest and give him money. But now it's kind of become this, I don't know. I do think it's a huge thing too, where it's attention. Because
Yeah.
why else? Why else?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the hotel thing. So he's like working at this hotel, and he's working for the hotel so that he can get a room every night. The owner of the hotel, or the woman at the hotel that he works with or whatever, told him that his clothes stunk like mildew, and he said it was because the washers there at the hotel sucked. And she was also complaining that his room and stuff was really dirty. Something else goes on later on that evening, and he gets told he can't stay there anymore. And the police even got called. And then he ends up in a shelter. And then on this live with Justin for All, he's talking about being in a new shelter. So just in the last couple of weeks, he went from being at a hotel to being in one shelter, which I know somebody mentioned something about they found out who he was or something and didn't want him there. Don't know if that's true. Just letting everybody know it was something that we heard. And now he's in a new hotel or a new shelter. So he's literally bouncing around. And another thing I want to point out too is here he is. Yeah. Brooks gave out his cash app and he was acting like he needed this money and everything else, but also on Brooks' lives that she did, he is showing her this giant forearm tattoo that he just had done. And I don't know, I've got 2 daughters that get tattoos. And one of my daughters is sleeved down one arms, and I know how much money she has spent on her tattoos, and that cost a lot of money. So here he is bragging about a new tattoo that he got, which probably costs a lot of money, but at the same time acting like he's broke as a joke and don't got anything. And I find that, you know, I don't just criminal almost.
And he was coughing and acting like he needed an
Was sick.
ambulance and going to the hospital and all that. And now he's fine.
Yeah. And he was fine on the news interview that he did before he did with Brooks when he was coughing and hacking and acting like he was going to have to go to the hospital. That was the thing that I found very interesting because he did the news the day before he started that. But I'm glad you brought up the hotel thing because I really wanted to talk about the hotel thing and the fact that he's like moving around, kind of drifting, you know. And it's just why can't he stay in one spot? Is it because he's got an attitude? Are people not liking him? Is he having to do UAs to stay clean there? Is he failing them? Is he drinking when he's not supposed to? Because, you know, when you're staying in homeless shelters, there are rules and there are rules you have to follow. You also have to be back at a certain time at the end of the day in order for you to stay there. So yeah, I'm just wondering, and I'm really curious if he's not following the rules, and that's why, you know, he's having issues.
Good observations.
But you don't have anything to offer as to where Michael is.
I don't. You're right, because I don't.
So what I'm saying is like, and the point that, I mean, that should take, 5 minutes to say.
He has taken a polygraph.
I did take a polygraph, and I was very well informed that I passed the polygraph by detectives, by the FBI, by my mom, who the detectives told. I was also told that Sarah and Brandon did not.
Have you told investigators anything that you haven't told the public? And if so, why?
Not at all.
So your story that you're telling everybody is the exact same that you have told in the interrogations.
Exactly.
And to stop an interrogation, what you did, you said that Michael was in the yard.
Correct.
How does that, did that stop an interrogate? Did that actually stop it?
I haven't been interrogated since. I haven't heard from law enforcement. I haven't talked to law enforcement. I haven't even heard a peep from anybody.
So they dug up that entire yard, as we all saw. We watched them do it.
Mhm.
Based on just you saying that he was buried in the yard to stop it.
Correct.
So you tricked law enforcement into doing that?
I guess if you want to put it that way, yes.
Well, I mean, that's against the law, right?
I mean, do you think
so? You very well, you could and probably should be charged with that. But and I'm not here to like trip you up or hang you or be mean to you or anything. But how is it that you can trick dogs into hitting on human decomp? You can't do that. You can trick the police, but you're not tricking dogs.
Oh, not at all. But
the dogs did hit, correct?
Apparently that's what
there were supposed to be multiple dogs.
So you told them that Michael was buried in the yard, and then, which you say is a lie, but then dogs hit on human decomp in that yard.
They hit before I told them that. That's why they questioned me.
So they hit before?
Correct.
Hit before? Like, how in the hell is that even possible? If dogs hit on the scent in the backyard, cadaver dogs hit on the scent in the backyard, why would they even need Stacey's tip? They would start digging immediately.
Right.
Am I wrong?
Well, they'd sure be grilling them. Why are our dogs hitting back here? You know, and I think he even, if I am remembering correctly, I feel like he told one of these YouTubers he went live with a timeline of when he got interviewed, and this was before he told everybody that he was the one who gave the tip. I wish I knew when he said he was interviewed, because then we could go and say, well, when was the
Well, he
house
was
searched?
it was in November of 2022.
And that's when the house was searched,
That's when
right?
he told Eve a week before the search is what he said on the Eve show. Matter of fact, I wish I would have caught that. Good catch, Kalia. Because on True Crime with Eve, he says it was a week before the dig. And
Yeah,
here
there we
he's
go.
saying that it was after the cadaver dogs hit.
So he, again, is just all over the place. And
Good catch, girlfriend.
yeah, I knew I remembered him saying something, but I was like, dang, I just can't remember. So thank you for finishing the memory.
Well, as soon as you said it, I'm like, wait a minute, I heard that. Where was it? And yeah,
Yes.
she specifically asked him that question. And I remember because I wanted to have that in my clip because he stated it was in November of 2022, a week prior to the dig. So yeah, this is just complete BS. Bless you.
Bless you, hubby. He's like, I'm sorry. No, you're all good. You're all good.
So did
But to prove my point that there was nothing back there, that's why I had them go dig it up. I knew there was nothing back there. I simply was very much so under pressure. I was being interrogated to the point of tears. I mean, for hours a day, for like 3 or 4 days. And honestly, I could not take it. It was killing me.
but I thought you said you gave them the tip.
I did give them the tip after they interrogated me.
If the dogs would have
but-
hit earlier, they would have just dug it up.
Yeah, that's the thing. If that's what I'm trying to understand.
That's what I'm
here.
saying. Like, so obviously,
I mean,
I mean-
they wouldn't have known to search your house if
Right.
they hadn't had it, if you hadn't given them the tip.
That's what I'm saying. I told them.
you told them, and then the dogs hit, correct?
No.
Because the dog, if
dogs-
they hit
the
on
cadaver
dog,
dogs hit before, that's at least what I'm being told. That's what law enforcement told me. That's what detective
was
criminal.
they would dig it up though. They would have dug it up if dogs would have hit. Just not so they didn't. They dug it up because you said Michael was buried in the yard.
Correct.
Okay, but
Then
how
they
did
bring the dogs out there to confirm that hey, there is human there is
they
they're
hit?
hitting out here. So then they dig it up.
All I know is I told them that fable. That's what I told them. I don't know anything further than that.
And you
I
can
know
see
that
how
they
that's
said
going to
the
be
dog-
hard for people to understand.
I do, absolutely.
Because I mean that's a lot to tell. I mean, to get an interrogation to stop, all you would need to do is say, "Hey, I want to talk to my lawyer."
And I did that. My lawyer was present with me.
Okay.
His lawyer was present with him. I just don't buy that.
All of this
You're-
is so crazy. Oh my gosh. The fact that he called it a fable, A, that's so cringy, and B, what, you don't want to call it what it is, a lie?
Yeah.
You're thinking that calling it a fable will lessen the blow to our ears? No, we are not stupid. You lied. Or you're not lying. You're now lying to us. And you're wanting
Yeah.
us to believe you. We're not dumb.
And you guys, this was just 2 days ago. He just did this 2 days ago. And now we're finding out tonight that he's over, saying, or that Purple Phoenix is doing a live show. And over there, they're showing how he's saying that this other channel, this other creator on YouTube told him to lie about this false tip. Like, wow.
Who knows
And I
what the freaking truth is in this case, obviously. This is crazy. And like you said, what attorney is going to sit in? It reminds me of, sorry, I don't mean to cross case here, but it reminds me of the Dee Dee Spicier interview when she's like, my attorney let me talk to, or, you know, the police said, can I talk to you without your attorney? And my attorney said yes. Like, what kind of attorney that you're paying probably like hundreds of dollars per hour to represent you is just going to be like, oh yeah, go ahead and have some unrepresented conversation. This is a similar type thing. They're going to just sit with you and let you get grilled during an interrogation to tears and not
Right.
say, my client is done answering questions. That's
And
bizarre
he
and
gives a false
unbelievable.
tip during that time, but his
Yeah.
lawyer doesn't say anything, stop it, or whatever. All I have to say is, here is how I feel about Justin for All and Josh with the lab and their amazing job that they did making Stacey Wondra not only a nervous wreck, because it's completely obvious that he's uncomfortable, he's nervous, I mean, like, you guys did an amazing job.
Seriously.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Like, standing ovation. And that was just the first clip. He goes so hard on him with these questions. I mean, that entire thing, he makes so much sense too when he is, you know, grilling them and letting them know, you know, you're not going to get away with this.
Right.
Let's throw up the second one.
Dogs hit, and we've got all of this based on evidence, it says.
I think that you plan on being indicted like everybody else that was up there on those poster boards, and you're trying to get ahead of this thing, kind of get your story out there, which I don't blame you. It's going to come back to bite you in the ass. I know it is. I don't understand why anybody would tell the police that there's a kid buried in the yard to stop an interrogation. What good does that do? Did that help you in some way?
The probable cause,
because why you wouldn't tell him that unless he was actually buried in that yard.
He wasn't.
He wasn't when they went back, but he was at one point, according to the dog.
I mean, he obviously was in that yard at some point. Investigators and dogs and everyone picked it up. Now, maybe you didn't have nothing to do with it, but somebody at that house did. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And who was it?
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm telling my side, because I know for a fact, and per the posters and the pictures and everything that I posted that I sent to Justin, like, I had nothing to do with this boy's disappearance. I had no knowledge of him being buried. If he was buried, that's news to me.
Well, one of the things that the dog would do is when they're sniffing in the yard, not only would they do that, at any point, if he was in the house at all, if Michael was in your house, the dogs would hit at the front porch. Did they?
No, not to my knowledge. No.
I think they hit beside the front porch.
Oh, okay. So that would indicate that he was near the house. So Michael, I mean, let's just be honest here. Michael was around that house.
Huh?
Michael was around that house. The dogs aren't going to hit just for no reason unless you buried somebody else back there.
I don't know. I have no information to give to that. Like I told everybody and anybody on here, if I knew something about this, because I am in no way okay with abducting a child, killing him, burying him. I would bury somebody else for doing that to somebody like that.
Do you expect to be indicted for this?
I was going to ask, yeah.
I mean, obviously, you have an idea that you're probably, or else you wouldn't be doing this. I mean, I've seen this before.
To tell my side of the story. And if I'm indicted, they've got a long road ahead of them.
Two. Do you guys see how they have him stuttering? Like, in so many different places in this, he is just so nervous. And he can't even get his words. Because Something else I've noticed, and I've been talking to Kaylia about this, when he is on panel with women, and I just want to point out that, I'm not one of those women that, I don't even know what you want to call it. Oh, I'm just going to continue. When he's on panels with women, he acts a completely different way than he does when he's on a show with men. And these men aren't letting him get away with shit. And they've got him scared. I mean, you can see his face in this compared to the other clips, that he isn't as cocky, he's not as egotistical, his narcissism is still showing, because he's trying to portray that he's like this different person than he actually really is. But yeah, the stuttering and everything else, I love how they did such a good job.
Yeah, they really did. And he is nervous. Like you said, man, they hit him hard, and they asked him the questions that, like, I mean, yeah. I'm surprised Stacey didn't just hang up right there and be like, sorry guys, I'm done.
I know. And it's almost, I was waiting for it, and then he didn't. I was like, damn, well, that's not the same Stacey we've been seeing lately. The angry Stacey we've been seeing lately would have done hung up on your ass. What's going on?
Yeah,
Welcome,
right.
Opal, by the way, to our show. She says it's her first time here on our channel, but she follows this case. She also says that the second Josh come on panel, he started sweating. I noticed that too. I told Kaylee, I said, I'm pretty sure he started sweating at some point. In my opinion, he's super suspicious and a liar. Reminds me of others in numerous missing children's cases. I totally agree with you. I mean, his whole mannerism completely changes the moment that Josh comes on, and that's because he just really starts laying into him. He's not letting him get away with everything all of the other people have been letting him get away with. And me and Kaylee had actually talked about how would we be if we ever had him on like our show or something. And I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't be as nice as everybody else is being. I'd want to ask some pretty hard questions.
Yeah, me too. I know people, I feel like sometimes try to tiptoe around it because they want to keep him there under the ruse of like, oh, we're friends, like the good cop type of way of doing it. So I get it, but also, a lot of us, I feel like, are in the same boat, that we're over here wondering what the heck, there's something weird going on, and that I know there's a lot of suspicion on Stacey, and he's named as a suspect in a child's disappearance and maybe murder. So I just don't see how being a good cop to this person is worth it.
Right. Death by Chocolate, definitely they had him squirming. I listened twice already. You know what? I got 3/4 of the way through, took some clips and walked away, and I still haven't watched the end of it. I'm still curious to know what else is on that. And since this other new live just started, I'm sure I'll be taking more clips to do another show, because I just feel like it's really important to get all of this information out there right now. Like right now. It not only is this, Stacey being on here talking so much is bringing a lot of awareness to Monkey, and that's important.
That is good. That is
even though we have
silver
to sit here
lining.
and look at his face, it's still bringing tons of awareness. So the more we share all of these lives and do these clips and do these recaps, and all of these creators keep having him on, that's what we're doing. We're bringing awareness, whether we want to listen to what he has to say or not, whether we believe what he says or not. It's still bringing awareness for Michael.
Very valid point.
And Opal says, I'm still stuck on why they had to avoid Ring cameras at Brandon's mom's house, and why Stacey will share his wife with Brandon, but not his washing machine. Oh, good point. I never caught the whole like sharing the washing machine thing. And yeah, I did think it was kind of suspicious too. I don't think they wanted Brandon's mom to know that they came to the house that night. And I think that's why they didn't want to be seen on the doorbell cam. At least that's what I've heard. And that's kind of my own opinion too. I think I've watched this interview 4 times now. I pick up something new I overlooked each time I rewatched it, Opal says. Yeah, every time I watch them, I am picking up on something new. Okay, let's finish watching this clip. We have other things to talk about tonight too. We're going to be going over the fact that there is a cemetery involved in Brandon's family. And we want to go over a timestamp picture of Adrian that was taken outside of Applebee's. And then we're going to go over some other information about 8th Avenue in Arizona because he has been changing his position and time on that also.
With going to trial.
Well, I mean, not really. If you told him that he was in the yard, I mean, you're going to be charged with lying to investigators if that's what you did. I mean, I've seen this before.
To tell my side of the story. And if I'm indicted, they've got a long road ahead of them with going to trial.
Well, I mean, not really. If you told him that he was in the yard, I mean, you're going to be charged with lying to investigators if that's what you did. And that's a serious crime too.
And if I am, I am. I own up to that.
I just don't, I can't get past like how you would just say, hey, yeah, he's in the yard.
I literally made that up.
And
There was
then
no-
dogs
there was
literally
nothing
hit
behind it?
on human decomposition.
Yeah, that's the problem is if you made it up and he was actually in the backyard I mean, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Stacey?
I feel you, and I get that. But
And that's like that's a hell of a
I
coincidence.
gave them a direction. Okay, this is where I know that it was a lie, because that dog may have hit in the backyard, but the direction and area that I pointed to him, the dogs did not hit around at that house in the backyard. I told them he was literally buried directly across from the patio.
Well, you know, the
Were
main
you
thing
offered a deal, like a cooperation deal?
They offered this before they dug the yard, and they said that they would give me a 15+7, but in the condition that I would tell them where the body is. And I said, I don't know where the body is.
Currently, or you did in the past?
I have never known where the body is.
I just don't understand why you would lie to the feds about saying that there's a body in the backyard.
You have to understand it coming from my point of view and my mental disability that I suffer with, like, not as an excuse, but
What's your mental disability?
I have fetal alcohol syndrome. I have Asperger's. I have autism, which is Asperger's. I have bipolar, intermittent explosive disorder. They did not specify where the dogs hit. They said they hit in the backyard. I told them where it made up again, where he was buried, which was directly across. When you walk out the back patio door, it was directly straight across, right in the middle of the fence, in the middle of the yard. They didn't specify where he was hit. They said that they dug by the shed and that the dogs had hit around the shed area. That's what I've been told. But I know for a fact that when I gave them that location, I watched it on video when they were digging at that spot. Detective was on the phone with me.
Mm-hmm.
They dug nothing up. The dogs did not hit in that spot. I watched them.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just find it so crazy when he describes this exact spot in between the porch and the fence in the middle of the yard, how he's acting, his facial expressions and everything else. Everybody knows I'm a huge crime junkie. I almost feel like he's telling the truth at that particular location. Like he really, I don't know. What do you think, Kalia?
I don't know if I misheard it or what, but I feel like I just heard him say that's where that's where Michael was buried. Like almost like it slipped out, like he was not meaning to say it like that, but
let's see.
I don't know. I will have to rewatch that and post that
Well,
in our
let's see.
Facebook
I have
group if so. But
autism, which is
like, I feel like he
Asperger's.
said that
I have
that
bipolar.
right before he
It was
described
directly straight
that
across,
spot that
right
you're
in the
talking
middle of
about.
the fence.
Yeah.
In the
He
middle
said,
of the
instead
yard.
of saying
It didn't.
Sorry.
that's where I told them Michael was buried, he said that's where Michael was buried. And
specify where
like,
he
I
was
don't know if
hit.
that was a slip
They
on
said that they
accident
dug
and nobody caught it, and you know, because it just the continue kept going on. I don't know.
by the shed, and that the dogs had to hit around the shed area. That's what I've been told. But I know for a fact that when I gave them that location, they literally, I watched it on video when they were digging at that spot. Detective was on the phone with me.
Mm-hmm.
They dug nothing up. The dogs did not hit in that spot. I watched them.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that he was in the yard.
I said he was in that direct spot, but he was never there. Clearly,
Well, he was in that yard somewhere at one point.
somewhere, probably, I don't know.
He
I have
probably
nothing.
was.
I don't have knowledge of it.
Well,
Like
I
I
mean,
said,
you
I have
didn't pull
never-
that out of thin air. Maybe
Yes, I
Adrian
did.
told you, maybe
Yes, I
Sarah told you, maybe Brandon
No.
told you.
But this is exactly why it's hard for me to do these lies, because people are gonna try to judge me and say that I literally didn't. I had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Why did
no
you stop? Why
reason
did you
to
stop
lie.
at 8th in Arizona again? I'm just curious about
To
that.
put
Why-
power steering fluid in the truck. And it
what time
wasn't
was that?
directly on Arizona Street. It was probably about 50, 60, maybe 70 feet, 80, maybe 100 feet behind Arizona, like before Arizona Street. Literally right after you turn left out of our subdivision to go on 8th Street is where we pulled off.
Was Brandon with you?
Yes.
And so when you did that, just about the time that Michael goes missing, you understand that, right? Just kind of coincidental too.
I don't know what else to tell you guys. I've told everything. I've told everything.
Look, I've asked everything that and I know some people are saying, "Oh, Josh, you're being mean." I don't think I am. I'm just asking questions. And I'll let you finish up, Justin.
No, I don't think you're being mean. I mean, I think we're trying to find out what's going on here, and that's the thing. There's 4 different people saying 4 different things.
Wow. It just blows my mind. The entire interview that they did completely blows my mind. And he is saying now that when he pulls over on Arizona and 8th Street that he's, 50, 60, 70, 100 feet back. Yet when he spoke with Dolly Vision, he told him that he was on a dirt patch, and the dirt patch is literally located directly on Arizona and 8th Street. And here's that small clip.
Pretty good. So when you come out your neighborhood, there's a field that sits adjacent straight across from your neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get a location where you would have stopped, a good general basis of where you stopped. Like
so do you know where Arizona is, right? So you pull out the subdivision, Hidden Meadow subdivision, you take a left, and right there's a little dirt patch right before the
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. So we pulled off right on the right hand side of the road.
Okay.
Before the stops, before Arizona.
Yeah, the dirt patch I actually have on a map. And yeah, it doesn't make sense. Because the dirt patch is right on, here it is here, 8th in Arizona. This red mark is the dirt patch. I actually covered it up really well. I wish I wouldn't, because so you guys could see the whole dirt patch. But that is the dirt patch that he is talking about, that I just find so strange all of a sudden that he's like, 100 feet or more away from Arizona, when he has said multiple times that he was on the corner of Arizona and 8th Street. And if you look down here on Southwest 9th Street, the White House, right there past the corner, that is where Michael lived. So this is literally around the corner from where Michael lives. To be changing his story now after all of that is just crazy.
Absolutely crazy. It's like like we said at the beginning, do you not remember what you just were telling somebody? That's just doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. What do you think about that second clip?
Yeah, definitely.
They're pretty good.
I
So when
love
you
that
come
they
out your
that,
neighborhood, there's a field.
Sorry.
that they grilled him, and they're like, I don't think I'm being mean, and yeah, he definitely is on the defense here. Just again, just a great interview, and they asked some great questions.
It was a great interview. I the whole time almost felt like I had my own little like cheering section. 'Cause I was like, yeah, like get him, like yes, because it was just so important.
Right.
Opal was saying that that's what she heard too. And I mean, I remember telling my husband, like, it almost sounds like he's literally saying that Michael's body is right here. And I just love how they keep going back at him, like, well, whether it was a false tip or not, he was there. Well, no, he wasn't. Well, yeah, he was. It wasn't just one cadaver dog, it was multiple cadaver dogs that hit on the death scent in the backyard.
He
Also,
even slipped up and said, he almost said probably when they said that. Well, he was there. He almost said probably, and then was like, well,
yeah,
I don't know.
yep. Because man, they had him stuttering. They had him, and I think that's what Josh's. I think that's why Josh was getting at him. He was trying to get him to slip up, and I personally think he got him to slip up like a couple of times. I really like how he even said, they're not just gonna hit on a scent in the backyard either. If Michael came to your house, they're going to hit on a scent at the front door, which I've also heard that they hit a scent somewhere around the front door or the front of the property. And, Josh is bringing that up too. And yeah, Justin then says, yes, there was a dog scent that hit to the side of the front door, meaning, his death scent wasn't the only scent there. Michael's scent itself was there. And I believe that scent was caught on early on, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, things just definitely are not adding together. Opal, Josh and him shaking in his boots. Yes, literally. Absolutely. He contradicts himself so many times. I'm sure law enforcement is thrilled to have these, though. Nobody is unlucky enough to lie that a body is buried in their backyard and then multiple cadaver dogs hit on that same backyard. Exactly. And then when they go to the house, supposedly from this tip, this false tip or not false tip, paid tip, whatever the hell this tip is now, Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
Sarah is spouting off, oh, the high God told me that Stacey buried him in the backyard next to the shed. Where he's now saying that that's where the dog scent was that he was being told was the scent by the shed. And that's not where I told them. I told them that Michael was buried in between the back concrete slab and the fence in the middle of the yard. But the cadaver dogs were going off over at the corner of the shed, and that's not where I told him to look. I know because I saw the video. It just doesn't even make any sense.
No.
He is seeing everybody on these panels, doing the recaps, seeing how busted he is in his lies, And even though he knows he's busted in those lights, he straight up comes out and says, I was on the corner of 8th and Arizona between 6:30 and 7 o'clock when Michael Vaughan went missing between 6:40 and 7 o'clock in Fruitland, Idaho on July 27th, 2021. Those are the facts. Now he's literally putting himself in the same area, in the same location where Michael Vaughan went missing, where he was abducted.
At this point, he should just come clean and save a family a lot of heartache.
Exactly. Yeah, because those indictments are coming, and they're coming soon.
Yes.
You know, especially after all of this shit. I mean, who's not gonna want to just, you know,
and if I
take
remember
care of stuff and
correctly,
get it over with?
I don't know for sure, but I feel like they might be able to use this stuff in court because if I remember correctly, when Jodi Arias went to court, did they not like use the fact that she went on an interview and said, "No jury will convict me," against her, and they showed that to the jury to show how like egotistical she was?
I think that they'll be able to show all of this. When you are on social media, even if you're in Messenger, you can
True.
use all of that.
That's why they subpoena your Facebook and stuff. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I really believe that, you know, just like Josh said, like, they're going to use this against you. You know that, right? Like, you're going to go to jail for saying this was a false tip because that's against the law. And it's the truth. I mean, he's going to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We have other comments over here. What evidence was found in the house as well? They didn't go into detail about what evidence was found in the house, but they did say that they found evidence in the house. Do you gals personally think Sarah is as crazy as she's appearing? I'm torn. I'm kind of torn too, actually.
Me too.
I mean, they thought she was crazy enough that they sent her to a mental institution or something, but she wasn't there for long when they finally said, I think it was only a couple months, but when they were like, no, she can go to court. She's fine. You know, maybe they needed to get her regulated on meds. I don't know what they did while she was in there, but I know that, you know, from me stalking her Facebook, stalking her TikTok, all of this God stuff didn't really start happening until after Monkey went missing, after he was abducted. And that kind of tells me one out of two things. Either she purposely goes out and pretends like she's this godlike person because she's scared that people are going to come after her for the abduction of Michael, or she literally lost her shit because this little boy was buried in her backyard and you know, she couldn't handle it. If she didn't have anything to do with the burying of him or whatever happened, you know, she is going to lose it. If she had something to do with it personally, she could still have feelings. But I think, you know, not being able to deal with something like that, whether you did it or somebody else did it, I think if somebody else did it, you wouldn't be able to handle it at all. Especially if you didn't want anything to do with it. You know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And she may have had some like mental, I don't know. I mean, she did hold a gun to someone's head. That's what she's doing time for, allegedly. You know, she was found guilty of that crime. So there is obviously some kind of something that, because I don't feel like a rational person might do that. But that doesn't mean I don't think she understands right from wrong under every you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange.
It is
she
strange.
is definitely one, you know, that I think where I'm coming from is I don't know the case well enough to determine that, because so far right now I've looked a lot into Brandon, I've looked a lot into Stacey, a little bit into Sarah, and you hardly can find anything on Adrian. So I think I can't make, you know, up my mind on her because I haven't investigated enough. And I need to do more investigation stuff on her. But I can tell you, I told Kaylia in the beginning that I thought she was crazy as hell.
Mhm. I feel like a lot of people get that opinion of her.
Yeah. And then when I found out she took the gun to somebody's head and that's what she was serving time for, I was just like, oh, okay, wow. Because, you know, that in itself is very telling of a person.
Yeah. Like I said, I've never once, like I said, I feel like most rational people, that's not their first reaction. So yeah, that is
Right.
telling of a person for sure.
Zaynally, didn't he claim he saw a little boy around that time that looked like Michael but wasn't? Yes, he did. He said that he saw a little boy. He gave multiple, oh my gosh, so many multiple things. I wonder how long the clip is that I have. Let me just see for a second. And then I have to get into my computer to find this one. Let me see. I was wondering if I wanted to throw this one in because I had a feeling somebody was going to mention it. So this clip is 11 minutes long. If you guys want to see it, I can play it. If not, we can just talk about it since it was in our last live. But I mean, he's saying that he is putting power steering fluid on the corner of 8th in Arizona. He sees a little boy. He says he can't determine whether or not it's a boy or a girl, but he does say little boy. He says this little boy has brown hair. Then he says that, I don't know what he was wearing or what he was doing because I was so far away. I was just paying close attention to my surroundings. And then he says that this boy was standing on the sidewalk. Then later on, he changes it to he was standing in a yard at the neighbor's house instead of saying his house because he doesn't know this little boy, right? So why wouldn't he just say, I saw a little boy playing in the yard of his house? He literally says, in the neighbor's house. Another inconsistency, he said that the little boy was playing with something in one point in time and then couldn't remember if he was playing with anything or not. Brooks asked him about a bicycle or a tricycle and he was like, well, I don't know if he was on one. Well, if he was standing or playing inside of a yard, wouldn't it make sense to know whether or not he was on or playing with a tricycle or a bicycle?
Mm-hmm.
And then he also points out that while on Arizona and 8th Street, that it was 5, 6, 7 houses down. And here's that picture again. I'll just add it up to the stage. I mean, if you're there on the corner, there isn't 2, 3 houses down. And he'd given how old he thought that the child was because he was saying this was an older child and he said 6 and he said 7 and he said 8, 9, 10. I mean, and he was tall, but he didn't look like Michael. And then today I heard him on the Justin for All show say that the little boy was wearing a bright yellow shirt or a bright looking shirt. So this whole he saw a kid. Oh, and let's not forget that he said he was only pulled over to the side of the road for 30 seconds. And look at all of that information I just gave you. It took me longer than that to tell all of you what exactly he has said that he saw about this child when he pulled over.
Yep. Yeah, he's again just hard to believe. And now with his changing story, with him being in a different position.
Yeah.
It's just
Talking about being in that different position is just crazy. Like, oh, I was 50, 60, 70, 100 feet back from the actual Arizona and 8th Street. Nope, the dirt road that you said, or the dirt patch, is right on the corner. So who knows where he was even positioned. Oh, and I also heard him say on Justin for All today that the little boy was up further on 8th Street, that he wasn't on Arizona, he was further up on 8th Street. So the fact remains, this is the facts. Michael was abducted between 6:40 and 7 o'clock. And now he's saying, because of timestamp information that he has on his phone that Eve helped him find, that he was parked on the side of the road between 6:30 and 7, and that pretty much puts him in the same area where Michael disappeared. If you want to, whatever else you want to believe in, that is whatever. I know they have him on camera at the splash pad. Law enforcement does. So if they have him on camera at the splash pad, I also think they have him on camera the time, like when he was leaving the neighborhood. When the truck was leaving the neighborhood to go do that tow. So that, I don't know. That's how I feel about all of that stuff. The other information recently found out was that Brandon's mom has a cemetery. She owned or owns a cemetery. And there were, we're going to assume that cadaver dogs went to her house, because dogs went to her house. She says they went to her house. She says that they hit on something, and we're just going to assume that they're cadaver dogs, since they were cadaver dogs that went to Stacey and Sarah Wandra's house, right? And why would they be digging there if
it wasn't a cadaver? Yeah,
right. In this KTVB Channel 7, it says in early 2023, Brandon Shirtlift's mother confirmed to 727 investigates that police came to search her Kuna home more than once. They came back with 17 cars, dogs, and shovels, and dug where the dog alluded to the following day. Is that right? Alluded?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They found nothing but my leaky toilet. Shirtlift's mother, Tina, I think it's Morale, would via Facebook. Hold on a second. Why is it? Can you finish reading the rest of that? For whatever reason, I can't finish reading it.
No problem. Tina Morrill, she wrote via Facebook Messenger in early 2023, "We have cooperated fully since this all began." They add that she wrote. And I read that message in another live we did about Stacey, or about the case, actually. The first live we did. It was in a private message between, I guess, a reporter from this news station and Brandon Shirtlift's mom. And she was being pretty snooty and was basically saying that, oh yeah, they thankful for the dogs that they came and they alerted there, because all they found was my leaky toilet and they just were smelling shit. And it was like, so, like, basically just like, in my opinion, again, making light of a serious situation. I mean, if her son was there that day and he could be involved, then why are you going to be acting this way? You weren't.
And a lot of people say that she's like covering for him, that she always tries to protect him, and that she's just acting like she's covering for her son, even after he has screwed her over a lot. She's continuing to, be that protective mom. And I'm sorry, but if one of my kids was responsible for something as shady as this, I'll be the first one to throw your ass under the bus, because your ass needs to go to jail. Sorry.
Right. I'll be there to I'll support you to be accountable, because you know what? I'll love you no matter what, but being accountable is the way to do it. And yeah, it was interesting to find out that she is, I guess, I mean, okay, I did some research on this cemetery when we came across this cemetery information, and she doesn't own the land. It seems from my research that she may have inherited this or something like that, but she's just the one that's listed on the business, but she isn't the one who owns the property.
Gotcha.
but still, it's this green cemetery out in Idaho. It's about 5 to 6 hours away from Fruitland, Idaho, and Kuna, where she lives. And apparently, it's a green cemetery where people can have their loved ones buried with like no vaults, no caskets, very minimal chemicals and things like that. And it's supposed to be a very green and sustainable way of, you know, burying our loved ones. And it looks like a pretty place to have a loved one buried. It is out in like very rural Idaho,
Mhm. Yeah, I got the
surrounded
map
by
up right now of how
mountains.
far it is from like Kuna to the actual cemetery.
Yep. So it's a good ways away. And there's not like a direct path between the two because I'm assuming all that green is just nothing but mountain range. And here's the business information that I found from the Idaho Secretary of State, and it shows there at the bottom that Tina Moriel, and she lives in Kuna, Idaho. There, and she, as it shows here, it began in 2012. So I think this cemetery has been around longer than that from my research. So I think somehow that she came into this, but she doesn't live there. So it's kind of interesting. Like maybe she's family to this person. I don't know.
Just want to
But
give a shout out real quick to Susie because she joined us. That's our other admin on our Facebook group. Hey, Susie. We love you, girlfriend. Sorry.
no problem. Yep. Happy to see you here. And then the green cemetery, it was interesting because at first it doesn't even look like a cemetery. When you Google it, it's, like I said, really rural and out there. And when you look at the map or there's no headstones. Like I know this is a pretty far away aerial view, but there's no headstones there. This is a
I
YouTube
just thought
video we
that
came
was
across.
just so weird that there's not tombstones. They use rocks, you said, right?
Yeah. So then when I went and did more research, I found that, yeah, how they were marking graves were by rocks. And some rocks, I mean, like very literal, a rock that was found there. And then they either carved into it or they painted on it. And then I did also see some that were like manufactured rocks that were more, I would guess, more like, one that you would see at like a kind of a memorial garden. So it has the name inscribed in there by like a machine versus a hand. So it looks manufactured. So there were some like that, but no like official headstones that I could see.
Well, there at the end of the video, it kind of showed some rocks being laid. Let me see if I can. Right there.
Yeah, just like that. It is by rocks. And so it's kind of an interesting cemetery. I'm not going to lie. I know that this is one way that people do it. We have a comment here saying you couldn't pay me enough to own a cemetery. I know a lot of people feel that way. I am somebody who kind of loves cemeteries, so I was like, let me see what I can find about this. But yeah, we were like, at first we were wondering, I mean, this is totally speculation. Again, this is just going down what if lane. What if they knew that Brandon's family was somehow connected to this green cemetery that is like totally unmarked and out in the middle of nowhere, and obviously she doesn't live there, so who's staying on the property to watch it? I don't know. But anyway, what
Well, it's
if?
so far out in the middle of anywhere, as you could obviously tell. It's right on, it goes right down the continental divide in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they only mark it with rocks. I'm curious to know if any of them, after Michael was abducted, took off on a 5-6 hour drive. Or actually, it would be more like a 12-hour drive because going there and back. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just find it really suspicious that she sounds like she's covering up for her son. So how far would she go to cover up her son? And even if she didn't have any help at all with anything, Brandon knows about that piece of property, obviously, because she didn't have much to do with her son, from what
Exactly.
Stacey says,
Right.
or you know,
And the fact that, like, so many people have mentioned that Brandon wasn't allowed there. So there was obviously a strain in the relationship, because I can go to my mom's house. I have a key to my mom's house. And, so I think that there was some reason. And we don't have to, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know why, because he has a record and history of stuff. So,
yeah, it's strange. When I found out that, she was part of the cemetery or whatever, I'm just like, that's really suspicious. One of the first things I told Kaylee is, can you find out whether or not, there was a crematory there? And then we found out all this other information, and I'm just like, really? Rocks? Like, that's how? I mean, rocks can be moved. So that kind of is a little bit creepy, because if rocks are moved, then how are you going to know? You know what I mean? Because they're teenagers that go out and party, they cause vandalism and everything else. Like, anything in the middle of anywhere can happen, and
yeah,
rocks could be moved, and then you're really not going to know exactly where somebody would be buried.
I
That's just
know. I
that's a
mean,
strange way.
it didn't really have like rows or anything like that. Oh, here we go. We have a comment from Dee Dee Hart, somebody who knows the cemetery and land belonged to Brandon's grandfather, Jim Locks. He died and was buried there in October 2021. There we go.
Oh,
So
well,
yeah,
thank
I
you.
mean, thank you very much for the information. I knew it was some way, because I was like, it just didn't, it had been around longer than she was listed as the person on that business registry.
Well, and I've heard about other green cemeteries and stuff where you can be put into the dirt without, coffins or anything else, and be wrapped in like a certain way in some kind of like cloth or something, and then they will plant a tree for you. But a tree is more like gonna stay there kind of feeling. So I think it was the rocks and the fact that they could be picked up and moved away is why that itself kind of like creeped me out, as far as how do they keep track of these people out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, so next I'm going to throw up a picture of Adrian. This picture was taken outside of an Applebee's. The timestamp from what I heard was 4:47. It was taken by Brandon. We don't know who is in the picture with Adrian, but law enforcement wants to know who's in the picture with Adrian. And, I started thinking about, if this picture was taken at 4:47 and you go back and you think about Stacey Wondra's timeline for the day, he said that he arrived back home from his taxi ride from Orlando to Boise airport, and from visiting his friend Labor Dave, and then back to Fruitland. He said he got back at, again, multiple times, 3:30, or 3:15, 3:30, 4 o'clock. When he got back to the house, Stacey and Brandon were there. Well, he also said that when he got back to the house, that he visited with Sarah and Brandon for an hour and a half before they left to go tow Brandon's car back from his mom's house in Kuna, saying that they left to go do that at 5:15, 5:30. Like I said earlier, never after 6 o'clock. But it doesn't make sense. When I found out that this picture was timestamps for 4:47 p.m. and then looked up the time, don't know if this Applebee's was in Napa or in Boise, but from Napa to Fruitland is 40 minutes. From Boise to Fruitland is 50. So they wouldn't have gotten back. And that's only if they left right after this picture was taken. They wouldn't have got back to Fruitland until either 5:30 or close to 5:45, which does not in any way, shape, or form match Stacey's timeline and them being there when he got home. And like I pointed out, when I added up all of the time of Stacey Wondra's day and took his word the best I could for it and added up all of the time, it didn't look like he was getting home until 5:36 either. So I'm thinking, now that I know that this picture was time stamped for 4:47 p.m., I'm pretty sure that maybe Stacey got home and they were there and they just got there. And that the time of them visiting for an hour and a half probably didn't happen. It was probably more like 30 minutes before they left. And I believe this timeline to be between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, because I don't think law enforcement would have had such an interest in them if
their
that
alibi
timeline.
didn't fit. Yeah.
Exactly.
If
So
their alibi, if they had an alibi that covered them from this time, they would have never been named suspects ever.
Yep. And let's not forget, Stacey Wondra pulled over to the side of the road 2 times that day. One was on 8th in Arizona and the other one was at a splash pad. And on 8th in Arizona, there was a little boy running around. And who do we have at a splash pad? You have children at a splash pad.
Yeah.
And the other thing I found interesting is, so you got a child on 8th in Arizona. You have children that play at a splash pad. And Brandon is saying that Brandon and Adrian and Sarah were all driving around the mall. Well, what else is around the mall? Kids, young kids, teenagers. I don't know. I'm really starting to wonder if this was a premeditated thing to abduct a child that day.
I know. I've wondered too, and I know that, again, this is what if Lane, right? I mean, Stacey Wondra keeps accusing Adrian Lucien of being a human sex trafficker. And what if, I mean, we know Stacey and Sarah Wondra were doing a lot of odd jobs to make money. They were doing anything they could to make money. Going on Craigslist and towing random people's cars and things like that. And
Adrian wanted them to do a bunch of
Yes.
scams with him online to
So
make money.
what if they did say, you know what's a good way to make a lot of money? Abducting a kid. And I'm just going again, what if lane. But it is suspicious that he was around the mall, around the splash pad, and then around where Michael went missing, this same exact window of time that Michael disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of just driving around the mall? Adrian, Sarah, and Brandon. Why are they just like roaming around a mall? And another thing is, why did Brandon need to wash his clothes that day? Why did he need to wash them and then come back the next day, if that's even true? You know what I mean?
Somebody posted it out. Why didn't he use the Wondra's laundry machines? That's super strange.
Yeah, and Stacey even said, I didn't like him using my washing machine, blah, 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 blah. That just makes him washing his clothes at his mom's house even more suspicious. Because did Stacey just say that? Because he was going to tell people about the fact that he washed his clothes at the washing machine at his mom's house? And he knew people were going to ask him, well, why didn't he just wash your clothes at your house? And then they drove all the way back to Kuna the next day to go put his clothes in the dryer to go get his clothes? You're going to waste all that gas?
Suspicious.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And it was Stacey said it was law enforcement that told him that Adrian was a sex trafficker, which I, again, am just finding that really hard to believe that they would just give out that kind of information.
I don't think they would. I mean, I think all of us sitting here are all of us have all admitted in the comments or in our groups together that we all watch a lot of true crime stuff. And in what true crime show is the police giving the suspect ammo? You know?
Yeah. Just like him saying that law enforcement told his mom that he passed a polygraph test, but Sarah and Brandon didn't. And then when Justin and Josh ask him about the polygraph tests, he really didn't know how to answer those questions. I mean, he said, of course, like he's been saying, but he was way more, because he was like, do you have proof of that? And he was like, well, I'm sure you could look on affidavits or something. And he was like, but no, you can't, because usually that information isn't given to the public or even talked about like that in affidavits or anything.
You're right. I've never seen a polygraph test mentioned, but in one.
Why would it be mentioned in paperwork if it's not admissible in court?
Yeah, that's true. It's more probably just a tool that they use to try to put pressure on people. Which, yeah, it works sometimes. You
And
know, when he
Sherry
said,
is here. Sherry Olds is here. She's from our Facebook group. Nice to see you, hun. I wasn't ignoring your comments earlier. We had so many coming in. She says here is Stacy, Brandon, and Sarah left then and came back later in the evening after the police and search was happening. How did evidence show up in their house? Well,
we don't know everything.
Michael came up missing in July of 2021 when they found the evidence in the house, and when the cadaver dogs hit on the death scent in the yard was in November of 2022. So it was over a year afterwards that the tip came in to law enforcement that said, hey, go check out the backyard. Now Stacey Wondra is saying he's the one who gave that tip. And then he turned around and said it was a false tip. And now, apparently, he's saying that he was just told by a creator to say it was a false tip to get views and likes on a particular station. I don't know how I'll be able to verify any of that. Don't know if it is verifiable, but that is what we heard in the early part of the show. So, yeah, kind of
crazy.
interesting.
Yes, it sure is, isn't it, guys? This is this is the way that it goes when there's pressure put on suspects. They start slipping up and doing things that don't make sense to the rest of us. So
Yeah, thank God for Crime Sleuthin coming inside the live and giving us some new
I know.
information that was going on, because I had no clue about it, because I
Yeah.
would have already been looking at that and checking it out. That
That's
information,
so
I
true.
guess, was being played on a live tonight by Purple Phoenix. And Purple Phoenix is pretty close to Brandi NEAL and Tyler Vaughan. So, yeah. That's all of the clips that I have. Just wanted to go over some more inconsistencies in Stacey's stories because none of them are adding up. We did a really long live. It was over 4 hours. Brandi NEAL came on in the comments section and was giving us a little bit of information, a little bit of insight, and just telling us how she was doing. She says she's been cooking a lot, and her and her family were snowed in. We were kind of snowed in here in the Pacific Northwest with an ice storm too. So if you guys want to go over and watch that last live, it's full of information. It's full of clips. You know, Stacey now has done anywhere from 14 to 15 hours worth of interviews. I covered 12 in clips, and then I just covered probably another 2 hours. You know, we're just trying to bring you guys the latest of what we're seeing, what we're seeing, you know, because other creators are having them on, and we're trying to use him and his words against himself to show you guys the inconsistencies and everything, because we just think it's really important. Plus, every show that we do, every show that anybody else does, brings awareness to Michael, and that's what it's supposed to be about, is Michael.
That's right. And indictments are coming.
Yeah, those indictments are coming. That is for sure. Fruitland Police tip line is 208-642-6006. You can also email Fruitland Police Department. The email address is findmichael@fruitland.org. Michael is Michael. Just want to let everybody know that. And yeah, let me see what else I got. Let me play a little video of Michael real quick. And I do want to give another standing ovation to Justin for all and Josh from the lab. Thank you guys for asking the hard questions and for really digging into Stacey Wondra. That needed to happen. I just so impressed with you guys' live. I've subscribed to both channels. I'm addicted now. Gotta watch them all.
Be going and watching that other one that Crime Sleuthin let us know about earlier too.
Yeah, that's on Purple Phoenix, you guys. If you guys want to go see, Stacey Wondra said that he was told by another creator to tell people about the false tip. At least that's how we heard it. We're going to be checking it out, and I'll be taking clips and adding it to the show. If you don't want to go over and watch a full live, you'll be able to come back here because we'll be going over that one too.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. It was nice to have so many people in the chat, as always, and I hope you all have a good evening.
Yep, we really enjoy having you guys here. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow to bring awareness to these children. We also go over Kyron Horman's case. And right now, we've been doing a lot of Michael Vaughan while his case is hot, while indictments are about to be given out. The grand jury is about to convene. And yeah, things are going to start happening soon. So it's really important to just get that awareness out there. We appreciate everybody coming out on a late night, a spur of the moment, being here, being amazing subscribers, being amazing viewers, always being nice. Always, giving us conversation during our lives. We appreciate you. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't really have a good show. I'll go over the last of the comments and then we're going to get out of here for the night. Kaylee has got babies to put, well, they're already asleep, but she's got work and stuff tomorrow.
Yep.
So they had Michael with them while they drove to get Brandon's vehicle and while the search was happening. We don't know. We don't know where Michael was. Yeah, we don't even know if the tow story is true because Brandon said that they did the tow the night before. Stacey's the one that's saying that they did it on the 27th. So there's also that. Opal, did you watch Stacey's interview in the channel Sweet Misery TC? I think that's the channel. I don't think so.
No, it doesn't ring a bell to me either.
Yeah. Share that in the comments for us, please, so we can see. Sherry Ells, the call Stacey gave to police, the tip. What exactly were his words in the report? Don't know. We're only going by what Stacey's saying at the moment on all of these interviews. Nobody knows what he really told police. Have you covered... What is that? Serenity Dinard? I'll check out your videos after the live. Thank you, Opal. No, I have not covered that case. We've only been working on these two cases. So we are Kyron Horman case revisited. When I started the channel, everything was dedicated to Kyron. We got asked by Brooks to cover Michael Vaughan's case, and since the Kyron Horman Foundation actually sponsored Michael Vaughan, we thought it was great to do some information on him and dig into his case. And here recently, me and Kalia have been talking about covering other children on our channel. We don't know if we're going to start doing that or when we're going to start doing that, because we're trying not to upset the people that have subscribed to the Kyron Horman, you know, groups and this particular YouTube. Appreciate your care, involvement, and research. Thank you, Sherry. If anybody told you today you matter, well, aren't you sweet? Thank you so much.
Oh, that's important. Thank you.
In that interview, he was super disrespectful. Serenity is another missing child from SD. Is that South Dakota? I'm assuming. Yeah, I haven't even heard about her. See, that right there should tell you she needs awareness, because I don't know who she is. And I usually know when these kids are coming up missing. I usually hear about it. Yes, so South Dakota.
Huh, I've not heard of it either. So yeah, we should look into that.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I've had a great time with you guys here. Thanks again, Kalia, for joining me. So it's spur of the moment. I know I didn't give you much time.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me, as always.
I couldn't do the shows without you anymore. It's a lonely side. It's just a lonely little ride over here now when I ain't got nobody with me. It's weird because now, you know, I don't know. I was
That's
talking
true.
to myself, I felt like before, and now I actually can have a conversation with somebody. Again, if you have any information about Michael Monkey Vaughan, he was abducted in Fruitland, Idaho, July 27th, 2021. And if you have any information at all about his whereabouts, if you know anything about these suspects, the name of these suspects, say Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shirtliff, Adrian Lucian. If you have any information about them and what they may have done with Michael, please come forward. You can make an anonymous tip. The tip line for the Fruitland Police Department is 208-642-6006, extension 0, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. You know, it's really important for people to come forward if you know anything, because no tip is too small. Doesn't matter what you saw, what you think may not be an important tip could actually be the tip that closes this case. Keep that in mind. Everybody say a prayer for BRANDI Vaughan, or Van. Damn it, I am messing it up. Say a prayer for BRANDI and Tyler and their family and their children, please. You know, they're going through a lot right now and they need prayers, and thinking about them. Share Michael as much as you possibly can right now. Those indictments are coming. The grand jury's about to get together. So it's really important for them to have as much of awareness as possible. And if we have to keep showing Stacey's face to get the awareness, we will. So Stacey, if you're listening, keep doing those interviews, keep lying, keep contradicting yourself, keep doing everything that you're doing, because you're getting yourself in a world of hurt and you're making Michael's case even stronger with all of your lies.
Yep, exactly. And awareness matters, so indictments are coming. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.